Here's what's cooking on the day. Sports Stove Local Hour. Coach AW Hamilton joins us to recap the basketball season. And then my dad's going to jump on the show. We're going to break down and reveal our brackets for NCAA March Madness. That's what's cooking on the day's Sports Stove Local Hour.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome into an all-new Sports Stove Local Hour presented by Ipm Pest and Termite, Central Kentucky's neighborhood pest professionals. It is ant season. Pests are coming out as the warmer weather comes. Make sure you get a hold of Ipm Pest and Termite if you're here in Central Kentucky, and they will take care of all your pest needs. I personally guarantee it. Visit myipm.com. That's myipm.com, and find more information about Ipm Pest and Termite. We have a basketball-oriented show for you today. We got Coach A.W. Hamilton is going to join us to talk about and kind of recap the season, and we'll ask some questions as well about the future, see what he has to say about that as well. And then my dad, who normally joins me for our Monday and Wednesday episodes, he's going to jump on, and we're going to talk about the brackets, reveal our brackets, and kind of talk through what we expect to happen here in March Madness. So a little bit shorter of an episode today, but still some fun stuff there for you. EKU baseball and softball are full-fledged. Beach volleyball is kicking up as well, and we'll continue to cover those things in future episodes. But we want to go ahead and give you that interview with Coach A.W. Hamilton. And it is presented by All Around Roofing. All Around Roofing is a locally owned company that is going to take care of all your exterior needs. So siding, windows, soffits, and of course they do roofing repairs and replacements as well. And make sure you get a hold of All Around Roofing. You can find them on Facebook, and you get pictures of the before and afters and the different projects that they do at All Around Roofing KY. If you look them up on Facebook, you can get all that information there as well. So that's the sponsor of today's interview with Coach A.W. Hamilton. Just a quick heads up. He joined us from his car, and so there's a little bit of audio issues early on, but generally speaking, it all clears up. So stick with us throughout the interview, and I think you'll enjoy the conversation we had with A.W. Hamilton. Joining us again and wrapping up the season, head basketball coach of the EKU men's team, Coach A.W. Hamilton. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us again.
Vince, thanks for having me on, man. You know, I think the world of you and appreciate all the support and all the interviews this year, man.
Well, it's been my pleasure for sure. Let's talk about the season. Obviously didn't go as planned, but 13-18, 5-11 in the ASUN, 12-5 at home. It sounds good. 1-13 on the road was harsh. Is there anything that goes with that? Is it new conference? Is it just the circumstances? Obviously, we'll talk about injuries and stuff like that. But at 1-13 on away definitely didn't go the way you wanted it to go.
No, absolutely, Vince. It didn't, and there's a lot of things that played into that. We went through a lot as a team and program this year with injuries, COVID, and we lost a couple key guys along the way. And our first win on the road this year was against Milwaukee, and we played really well, and it was a great win for us. And we had some tough luck on the road, but I'm still proud of our group. The previous year we set a school record most road wins. So a lot of these kids were on that team that did that. So we got to look forward though, Vince. We got to look forward, and we got to get ready for next season.
Yeah, you only had 3 players that were able to play in every game: Cooper, Michael, and Shad. A lot of that comes down to injuries. Like you said, COVID played a factor there at the end of the year, going into the new year as well. How hard is that as a coach when you're not always going to deal with COVID necessarily, but you're dealing with all these outside circumstances that cause you to only have 3 guys play every game in the season?
Well, it's tough, Vince. And I think the thing that is, when you think about our team, we lose Braxton and we lose Jansen Williams. And when you think think about those guys are seniors, and they didn't get to come back and redeem themselves. So that was the hard thing when you look at it like that. But hard, they laid their heart out on the line and competed every night, and there was no quit in this team, and I'm really proud of them for that.
Yeah, you guys had a plus 4.2 scoring margin on the season over your opponents. Slightly out rebounded, not bad, -4. But Tay was 6th in the ASUN. Moreno ended up being 12th in the ASUN in rebounds. You guys weren't very big, but it seemed like you had some guys really step up in that area.
Yeah, Michael's a special player. Vince, he does a great job rebounding out of his area. He's kind of like a throwback Larry Bird type guy. He sees a ball come off somebody's hands, and he just knows how to go get it, and he can really read where it's coming off the backboard. And I thought Tay made a huge jump from his freshman year to I guess you can say his next freshman year. But he made a big jump, and he'll make another big jump. I hated it for Tay because he was having a sensational year, and then he suffered turf toe right before the Florida golf game, and he just didn't have the same burst the rest of the league play. But I was really proud of both of those guys. Both of those guys will be back and are huge pieces to our program.
Definitely, yeah. Tay, I was thinking about that when I was looking through all these stats. Man, had he not gotten injured, he'd have been leading a lot of different areas. Your team was plus 5.8 in turnovers this season, which obviously is a key point of your program. Rue was first in the ASUN in steals. Cooper was second. Michael was 10th. CJ was 11th, and Tay was 16. You had 5 guys in the top 16 in steals in the conference. You got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, Vince, we were top 5 in the country in steals per game. I think we're top 5 in the country in total steals, and it's when I look at our season, we even had to pull back, on our press some towards the end of the year. Our depth wasn't the same. I was having to play a lot of guys, a lot of minutes, so we couldn't get those traps and cause that chaos like we were doing earlier in the year. But Jamal he's got a special knack for the ball. He went down as 6th all time in steals in school history. Really proud of him. Really proud of Jamal. He's going to graduate from May, and that's a huge victory for Jamal. I'm super proud of him for taking care of business in the classroom and getting the ultimate piece of gold there when you get that college diploma. So really proud of him. And Cooper Robb played with a torn labrum in his shoulder. Probably the last 10 games of the year. He's undergo surgery, so he'll be out for 4 months. So it just shows you, and I know Vince, you and I talked about it, and I know we talked about it with Nathan, after games, that Cooper Robb's probably the toughest kid I've ever coached.
He's my youngest son. He's 10, getting ready to be 11. Loves watching Cooper play. Like, he's his favorite player on the team. Anytime he's at a game or watching on television, he's trying to find out where Cooper is. And so it's a great example for young players as well to see the effort that he puts in. The assist, you had 2 players towards the top of the ASUN. Shad was 12th, and then Tay there at 13th. And again, had he not been injured, Tay he would have led the team in assists probably. He was pretty proud of that when we had him on the show earlier on in the year. It just shows that all-around athlete that Tay is and what he can do for your team, especially moving forward with the returning pieces you have.
Yeah, no question. Tay-Tay's a great playmaker. He's going to be a great playmaker at the mid-post for us, too. He's unbelievable in transition. He's a very unselfish player. Tay-Tay will be an all-conference player at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if he is next year. His commitment to getting better, improvement. His dad does an unbelievable job with him and training Tay-Tay. So, I'm so excited about Tay-Tay. And then as a team, I thought we did a great job in basketball. We lost a guy that was, Braxton Beverly, that came off a 13 assist game against Lipscomb, and we still finished top 25 in the country in assists per game. So, we moved the ball well and played well together.
Yeah, you're talking about guys that you're losing, Rashad and Braxton, guys that you were really counting on this year to distribute the ball. Rue, a scorer, graduating out. Isaiah Minter, Jansen, who you brought in for 1 year, and his injury luck was not good this year either. Those 5 guys that graduated this year, anything you want to say about them? I know you've talked about them before, but anything you want to say about them?
Well, listen, I'm so proud and appreciate Jansen Williams coming to play in our program. He suffered a knee injury. He's got to have surgery tomorrow to repair some cartilage damage in his knee. And I don't think he'll play professional basketball, but he gutted out the season with that knee injury and gave us everything he had. At one time, he was averaging 13 points and 7 rebounds, and it looked like he was going to be an all-conference type of player. And he showed why. He was Marshall's all-time leader in block shots. And when he went out, our defensively, we changed a lot. We lost a great rim protector when we lost him. Isaiah Minter, he's a hometown hero, Vince. He's a special young man. Again, he's going to graduate. I'm so proud of him. He's always, be a big part of our program. And, hopefully he'll stay around and help out on it. And then in Rashad, I know I told you this after the last game, Vince. He's a connector. He was voted team captain for 3 straight years. Had a great relationship with the team. He was a great leader for us. I don't think, that kid's got a huge heart. He always played hard, and really, really proud of that kid and what he accomplished in college.
I don't know what I'm allowed to ask here, so I'll kind of open the floor for you. But there's on top of those 5 guys graduating, you got 2 others that transferred out, Reek and CJ. Like I said, I don't want to press my luck here, but anything you want to cover on CJ and Reek?
No, listen, Kurt Lewis, I love Kurt Lewis. I will always love Kurt Lewis. He's a special young man. He had a great 3 years for us. He really grew as a person. So I'm proud of what he did for us and what we did for him. He's going to move on, and we'll miss him. Tyreek Balogun, I think Tyreek wanted a situation where he could play a bigger role. Vince, he'd been in our program for 3 years, played a backup role, and he wanted a role where he can maybe have a chance to start and play a bigger role and be more of a focal point on the offensive end. So, he's going to move forward. And, this is kind of the nature of the beast now in the NCAA. I mean, there's over 1,000 players in the transfer portal already, and there's still probably 100 teams that still haven't finished their season.
That's crazy. So if I did my math right, you guys have 7 returning players, 3 guys currently in the incoming class as well. All of those 3 guys are smaller guards. 2 of them all 3 of them are good, but 2 of them high expectation for sure. What are you guys looking to add to the roster for next year on top of the guys that you already have committed?
Well, we're going to add some length and we're going to add some size. That's been a priority. We love the guys that we got coming in. I'm only allowed to talk about 2 of them because only 2 of the 3 have signed officially. So, Tayshawn is a winner. He's going to be a special point guard for us. He's a finalist for Mr. Basketball in Indiana. His team is in the Final Four of the state championship. So he's a special talent. He's a special player. He's a 3-star guard. We beat some really good schools for him. Then Turner Buttry, I think he's got a chance to win Mr. Basketball in Kentucky, which we haven't had a Mr. Basketball since Urban Stepp, since Max Good was here. So, those 2 guys are really exciting to bring in. And then we're going to add some size and length.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing where it all comes together. The first year in the ASUN, like I said, didn't go as expected or even as desired, but the team played hard all year, and they were fun to watch and be there for. So, Coach, we really appreciate your time all season, and I'm sure we'll try to connect with you sometime in the off season as well. But thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks, Vince. Have a good night.
With over 20 years of experience, Matt Schaefer and the good folks at locally owned Ipm Pest and Termite provides pest control service for all of Central Kentucky's pest control needs. Whether you have a current pest control problem or want to prevent infestation from ever entering your home, Ipm Pest and Termite offers maintenance programs that will help keep pests out of your home and provide peace of mind. So for dependable, reliable services that you can count on, get in touch with our good friend Matt Schaefer and Ipm Pest and Termite today at myipm.com. That's myipm.com.
Does the exterior of your home need a facelift? All Around Roofing has you covered.
All Around Roofing is a veteran-owned company servicing Madison County and all of Central Kentucky. From roof repairs and replacements to gutters, siding, windows, soffits, chimney flashings, and more. All Around Roofing provides quality work and friendly service that will leave your house looking great. Call today at 859-489-5179 to get a free quote. That is 859-489-5179. We can handle your all-around exterior needs at All Around Roofing. Welcome back into the Sports Stove Local Hour, presented by IPM Pest and Termite, Central Kentucky's neighborhood pest professionals. Visit myipm.com for more information. And the dogs are barking. That's okay, though. We are joined now by a guest that many of you have not heard, and hopefully we can get the dogs to stop barking. My goodness. Sorry, folks. The great things of being in home studios. Anyways, normally on our Monday and Friday episodes, my dad joins me to talk general sports. So we have decided to bring Dad on the program here for the Local Hour episode to talk about the brackets, since by the time our Friday episode comes around, there will already be games played. So welcome into the Sports Stove Local Hour, my dad, Dale Stover. Dad, how you doing?
Doing good. Having good spring weather here almost in Ohio, so that's good. So,
oh yeah, beautiful down here as well. Gorgeous day, actually, for sure. All right, so we are at the NCAA tournament, and sadly, no EKU teams made the tournament this year. But I figured, like I said, we'd go ahead and cover the tournament, the bracket, and talk about it here on this episode. We talked about it a little bit on our Monday episode, kind of getting ready for the tournament. But now we've had a chance to look over our brackets, fill out brackets and things like that. And so we're going to break it down for you here on the Local Hour episode. All right, Dad, let's start in the West bracket region, whatever you want to call it, the Gonzaga bracket. Let's start with this question. Any big upsets that you have scheduled in round one?
Let's see here. Well, I mean, I've got the underdog in a couple of them, that's for sure. So I've got the winner coming out of Dayton beating Alabama.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, the Rutgers or Notre Dame?
Yep.
That's an interesting decision for sure. Let me ask you this, Dad, because I don't know that we've talked about this. How do you choose how you're going to fill out brackets? Is it just a gut feeling? Do you go off of numbers? How do you make your decisions?
Most of it is probably a gut feeling. I do keep up with basketball some during the year, and I have this year. So if there's teams I've seen that I think are good, then that helps me know a little bit is going on in the tournament. Excuse me. I don't really break it down a whole lot by comparing statistics. I do look at some, and some of them teams have got lots of wins and all that, but really haven't broke all that down yet. But part of it's gut feeling, part of it's people you want to win. Definitely it's that way this year. I mean, if I was to fill this bracket out tomorrow, I don't know if it'd be exactly the same. I mean, there's a lot of close ones. We've talked about that this year. So just go with people that definitely, I think, almost everybody has a chance. But teams, it never goes with all the favored teams. So, there's got to be a few people that move up from there, and we'll see how it goes this year.
Yeah, so I'm in two different brackets. I'm in a work bracket, and then I'm also in Mad Mushroom down on campus. They have brackets on ESPN, so I entered that one as well. Hey, Mad Mushroom, you want to sponsor the show? Great opportunity. Anyways, that being said, here we sit, and so I'm interested. So you think that the Rutgers Notre Dame winner is going to beat Bama? Not a whole lot of confidence in Bama.
No, I mean, I like Alabama. Earlier in the year, I would have been for them, but they have really kind of struggled down the stretch. I have kept up a little bit with Rutgers in the Big Ten, so I especially think if Rutgers comes out of it, they have a chance. We should have a very good chance to win that game.
I don't think I have any lower seeds winning round one in the West. I kind of went for the win this year. Figure I'm going to go high percentage opportunities kind of a deal. I'm looking through, Davidson's a popular underdog, not by much against Michigan State. I'm going with Michigan State to win that game. Vermont's getting a lot of popular pull as well against Arkansas. I'm sticking with Arkansas in that game as well. So I don't know. Who do you have? Let's go down to your Sweet 16. Who do you got in your Sweet 16 for the West?
Well, I guess the other team that would be a little bit of an underdog that I picked would be Memphis. I did pick them over Boise State. So,
okay. Who do you have in your Sweet 16?
Sweet 16 from here. Let's see. It is. Is that just the next group, or is that the
next group over?
Yeah.
Well, the winner of Gonzaga, Memphis.
Memphis. Okay, I've got Gonzaga, Arkansas, Texas Tech, and Duke.
Okay, so I've got Gonzaga, UConn. I got them beating Arkansas, Texas Tech, and Duke as well. And then who do you have beating out to go to the Final Four? Who was that match?
I have Arkansas and Texas Tech.
Oh, and then who's your Final Four team?
I have Arkansas. Again, I like them this year. They've played well, and they'd be the team that, not everybody would pick right off. But when I looked at everything, that's who I would pick.
So Arkansas versus Texas Tech, then Arkansas advances. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do the East last. So let's jump across to the South, where you got Arizona, Villanova, Tennessee, Illinois, Houston. A lot of good teams in this bracket here. Any big upsets in round one of the South bracket?
The only two upsets. One would be I have picked TCU over Seton Hall. Okay. And the other one, I've seen this team kept up with them a little bit because one of my favorite teams are in their conference. So I'm going to pick for the big upset UAB over Houston.
Houston's not healthy. They got a lot of issues going on right now. They're a good team, but they've got some health issues and everything going on. So that's an interesting one. I don't agree with you necessarily, but I don't think it's a horrible pick at the same time. My only lower seed that I picked in this one is Loyola Chicago over Ohio State. Some people will overlook Loyola just because they know it's not the same team from the big run a couple of years ago, but they are a good program. They're a building program. Ohio State, they've been up and down this year. Nothing consistent, kind of like Bama. To some degree, I look at Ohio State the same way. So I picked Loyola Chicago to advance there. Who's the highest seed in the South bracket that you have losing first?
It would be,
I guess, but other than Houston.
See, I go with the favorites, to the Sweet 16. I've got Arizona, Illinois, Tennessee, and Villanova.
Yeah.
And then actually I go with the higher seeded teams almost all the way, Arizona and Villanova at the end.
And Arizona in the Final Four?
Arizona in the Final Four. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tennessee, I got Tennessee beating Villanova. The way they've been playing as of late, I got them advancing to the Elite Eight, but I still have Arizona beating them to go to the Final Four. So far you have Arkansas and Arizona. I've got Gonzaga and Arizona. The Midwest bracket, led by Kansas, and then anyways, and Auburn, who has a former EKU player there, Wendell Green. So there you go. A lot of people cheer for Auburn for that reason. Any big upsets in round one of the Midwest bracket?
Yes, I have several. I have Creighton over San Diego State. I think Creighton got hot here at the end in the tournament, so I think that could continue. And the big upset I would pick, and it's because they have a lot of wins, is South Dakota State over Providence. From there, I have Iowa State over LSU, and it'd be the favorites in the others.
All right. So I don't have any big upsets in round one, but I've got LSU advancing to the Sweet 16. Now that they got rid of that horrible excuse of a human being, Will Wade, there's some freedom there. Not a bad team either. So I've got LSU beating Iowa State and then beating Wisconsin to advance to the Sweet 16, along with Kansas, Iowa, and Auburn. Who are your Sweet 16 teams in the Midwest?
I have Kansas, Iowa, Wisconsin, and Auburn.
Okay. And then your who's playing to get to the Final Four?
Big Ten game, Iowa and Wisconsin.
Okay. Iowa and Wisconsin. And who you got in the Final Four?
Wisconsin.
All right. Much to my shame, I have Kansas in the Final Four.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that was too bad.
I know. I got them playing Auburn in the Elite Eight there as well. Now, I will say this. I try to stay pretty consistent with my brackets. But in doing my Mad Mushroom Pizza bracket, I did have Iowa upsetting Kansas at that spot. But that's kind of the way I want things to go is the one I did for the Mad Mushroom Pizza bracket. But
I mean, I think Iowa's well coached. They got hot, obviously won the Big Ten, and they won't be intimidated by Kansas. And actually, I think, I picked a couple other brackets already just on my own, and I think I even have Creighton over Kansas in one of them as an upset, but not in this one. So
I would not be surprised at all if Kansas loses in the second round, whether it be San Diego State or Creighton. I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked at any point where Kansas loses. But I went with the numbers approach on this one, and Kansas has the numbers to that point. All right, so then the East bracket, Baylor's the 1 seed, Kentucky's the 2, Murray State's in this one as well. Texas, UCLA's there, North Carolina. So let's do the same question. First round upsets. Anybody in that bracket?
Got Marquette over North Carolina and Virginia Tech over Texas.
Yeah, you're kind of in on Virginia Tech, aren't you? They played well in the ACC tournament. I picked Texas to win. I think they have the better squad, but yeah, you talked about that on Monday a little bit as well. I've got San Francisco beating Murray. It's not what I want to happen, but I think San Francisco is a very, very good team. And I was looking back and kind of looking at what they've done this season. And even though Murray's had a great year too, Murray doesn't have any big wins. They haven't played a lot of good people. So neither is San Francisco, I suppose. But that being said, I'm going San Francisco over Murray State. Other than that, I went with North Carolina over Marquette. That was a hard one for me to pick, but I ended up going with that one as well. All right. Any other big stories in the East for you as you move on in the bracket?
No, I don't think so. I got Baylor, UCLA, Purdue, and Kentucky.
That's the same 8 that I have as well, or Elite 18, Sweet 16 teams, that I have as well. Okay. Into your Elite 8.
I've got UCLA and Kentucky.
All right.
UCLA's had a good year, and I think, if Baylor obviously can be beat, they lost their first game in their tournament. So UCLA. UCLA
has a veteran team, an experienced team, but Baylor does too. Baylor is, of course, the defending champs, and coming in, UCLA is an interesting team for sure. I still go with Baylor. I went with Baylor and Kentucky here going into the Elite 8. And who do you have in the Final Four?
I have Kentucky. Probably your influence has rubbed off on me there, and they are fun to watch. And I do like Coach Cal, and almost picked UCLA on that one because again, they have a history of making a run in the tournament, but this should be a year Kentucky does well.
Okay, so I don't love Coach Cal. I don't necessarily dislike him, I suppose, but I don't think he's a great coach. I think he's a phenomenal recruiter. I think he's a good leader. I don't love his X's and O's. He's got a roster, though, and a team that has no excuse of losing games. They got a very, very talented team. Put them up against the defending champs, Baylor. I, too, picked Kentucky to go to the Final Four this year. And I said from the beginning of the year when it came to Kentucky's basketball team, this is a roster because they're not all freshmen. He has transfers. He has guys that have been there for 3 years. He's got a phenomenal freshman as well. He's kind of got everything there, shooting, defense, rebounding with Shibwe. There's just no excuse. And Final Four should be where they end up, and that's where I have them. So we both have Gonzaga. No, you have Arkansas and
right.
Kentucky, an SEC matchup in the Final Four. I have Gonzaga and Kentucky. Which one do you have advancing to the championship?
I have Kentucky.
Okay. I do not. I picked Gonzaga here. And I've not been a Gonzaga guy this year. I've always thought they've kind of been overrated to a degree. Just from what I've seen from Kentucky this year, they should make it. They have a good enough roster to make it. Gonzaga has a great roster as well. I think Gonzaga is going to pull it off. So I got them into the championship. On the other side, we've got Arizona. I've got Arizona and Kansas. You have Arizona and Wisconsin. Is that right?
Right.
Who do you have winning that one?
I got Arizona.
All right. So you've got a Wildcats championship, Kentucky and Arizona.
That's it.
And I have Gonzaga and Arizona, a West matchup for the championship as well. So who is your national championship pick?
I would pick Kentucky. Again, I think there's any number of teams that could be there, but they do have a lot of talent. I do think if Kentucky is going to slip up, it could be against Murray. If they can stay focused and play all the time, I think as they go further, they will get better from there, because they'll be focused, they'll work on it. And again, with their talent, they're a lot of fun to watch, and that's who I'd pick.
Yeah, I can never get out of my mind what happened against Wisconsin in the year they were undefeated, heading into the Final Four and lost to Wisconsin, and how heartbreaking that was for Kentucky fans. So as they go deeper, in my opinion, if you make the Final Four, it's a successful year, no matter who you are. I feel like Final Four, that's where you should get credit at that point once you make it there as well. Gonzaga, again, phenomenal team, great recruiting done up there by Mark Few, and a lot of good stuff from them. Arizona, that whole right side of the bracket, the South and the Midwest, I've got lots of question marks over there. But we talked about this on our other episodes, Dad. But this year, I think you said that any of the top 8 teams win, you wouldn't be surprised.
Right.
You or somebody else, but okay. I think this is as open a tournament as it's been in quite some time.
Yes, yeah, I think it has been, and I think that's probably the general consensus with everyone. I talked to a friend of mine who always brings relatives in back in Tennessee and watches the tournament and every year, and he said, oh, yeah, it could be almost any number of a dozen from there. And I think the general consensus among fans, I think the ratings will be very good, and they probably always are for March Madness, but I just think, it could go any way. And, maybe this would be the strange year when the Final Four would all be teams that you didn't think would be there when it started. That'd be interesting. I don't know if there's ever been one like that where all 4 teams were surprises.
No, I don't think so. And I think the top 12 teams are ones that I look at. You look at the 1, 2, and 3 seeds in every bracket. I wouldn't be surprised if any of them made it into the championship game. I just think there's I think it's a top-heavy bracket, but I think it's still pretty open there at the top still with what happens from there. What do? Do you do anything special to watch the games once they come on?
No, not at that. I don't have a lot of plans yet at this point. Do plan on watching a lot of them, and we'll see how it goes, especially, when it gets to the weekends there. And, it should be good. One thing you mentioned, I forget which team you mentioned, but it was one of them that, they have a lot of veterans or a lot of seniors. There are some teams like that. Illinois is like that. I'm an Illinois fan, so it'd been easy for me to pick them all the way through. But they have a lot of seniors and guys that have been there a while. And you get a team like that, that's well coached. I think there's a lot of good coaches involved in this. And so I think it'll be a great tournament from there.
Yeah, the transfer portal has changed that.
Yeah.
Where you have a lot more veteran teams in the tournament as opposed to the past. Even teams like Kentucky are veteran laden. UCLA was the team I was mentioning before, but you get a lot of that. You're right, Illinois with a very veteran team as well. Just there's a lot of that around, and it'll be interesting to see kind of what wins out this year, how it goes, how it shakes out. Surely we're in for a big surprise, and Thursday or Friday. You would think something will happen that'll just kind of blow everybody's minds. That usually does happen. I was looking at a game, Dad, and I didn't pick this one, so I don't get credit even if I'm right. Colgate, Wisconsin. That's one I looked at and I thought, that's strangely enough, that could be a game Colgate pulls out and sends Wisconsin packing early this year as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out for sure. And it's exciting time in the sports world for NCAA fans, basketball fans.
With you covering Eastern Kentucky and covering the conference there, what kind of team does Jacksonville State have? Do they have any chance to pull the upset over Auburn?
All right, so I don't know if you saw this. Most of our listeners would know this, so maybe you did see it. So Bellarmine won the tournament.
Yes.
But because of their transitioning in, they're not allowed to go. And the team they beat in Jacksonville beat Jacksonville State in the tournament. So it's not even the second place team that gets in. Jacksonville State was the regular season winner, hence they got in. They're not great. I mean, they were good in the ASUN, but they're not going to beat Auburn. And they don't have a team built for the tournament. They're, in my opinion, if you're an ASUN team and you're going to have success in the tournament, you have to hit a ton of threes. I mean, a ton of threes. Yeah. And you got to be able to play some impressive defense, of course, as well. So I don't see Jacksonville State having any chance against Auburn in that 2-15 matchup. And actually, Dad, I don't know that any of these 15 seeds have a shot this year. Sometimes you get one that pushes somebody. Delaware maybe, but I'm not seeing. And the same thing with the 116s. We've only seen 116 team ever win, and that was against Virginia a few years back. But I don't see any team that jumps off the map here as small conference going to make a run. Murray, sure, maybe, even San Francisco there as well. Vermont, possibly, but it's just not, to me, it doesn't look like it's set up for the big dogs this year. And there's several big dogs in the tournament for sure. So, but it'll be fun. It'll be fun no matter what happens and no matter what. And, since I have invested into Eastern, I really have stepped back from Kentucky. I have not watched them near as much. Their wins or losses did not affect me at all this year. When they lost it, I wasn't upset. When they won, I wasn't ecstatic. I really have made a major change in life with that. But I still cheer for them. Obviously, would be happy for them to win, and we'll see how it all shakes out from there. So, folks, you've got a chance to listen to Dad today. He joins me pretty much every Friday episode and some Monday episodes as well. So make sure you tune in and catch any other past episodes that you've missed of the Sports Stove podcast. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Sports Stove, Instagram at Sports Stove as well. And then you can follow us if you want to watch us on TV. It is every Wednesday, the local hour, every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Belly Up Sports TV network. You can get the Belly Up Sports app on a Roku, or you can download the Tiki Live app on any other streaming television, and you can find the Belly Up Sports channel there, and you can watch the show there as well. Special thanks to Dad for coming on and joining me a little bit today. Also, thanks to Coach Hamilton again for coming and taking some time here with me and talking basketball and what's ahead even for them next year as well. Thank you so much for tuning into today's episode of the Sports Stove Local Hour. Thanks to Ipm Pest and Termite and All Around Roofing for their support of the show. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.
McKinney looks, sets it a pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.